Zachary Levi has joined the party. He is blasting Hollywood, saying that the studios just churn out garbage because they don't care. What do I have to say to that? Welcome to the party, pal, as Bruce Willis said in Die Hard. So as reported by Entertainment Weekly, Levi made an appearance at Fan Expo Chicago on Saturday where he shared, "I personally feel like the amount of content that comes out of Hollywood that is garbage, they don't care enough to actually make it great for you guys. They don't. How many times do you watch a trailer and go, OMG, this looks so cool? Then you go to the movie and it's like, this was what I get? They know that once you've already bought the ticket and you're in the seat, they've got your money. And the only way for us to change any of it is to not go to the garbage. We have to actively not choose the garbage. It'll help. It'll help a lot." We've been saying this for years now, and we have now been vindicated by one of Hollywood's own admitting that the stuff that they make is garbage. I'm sure lots of people will criticize Levi, well, you were in garbage, bro. What do you have? How are you? You're not the right messenger for this. Well, to that I'll say, hey, he's an actor. He took a job. He got paid for it. He's not actually creating the stories. He is an actor that acts within the stories. So I'll defend him on that point from there. I think as an actor, you can recognize that stories are garbage and crap, but at the same time, you still are an actor and you're paid to act, so you do the job anyways. It's a lot. I feel like you see that in a lot of other jobs. People are doing crap, garbage work that they think is stupid or dumb, but they do it anyways because that's what they get paid to do. They might not agree with it. They might disagree with it. They might think they have a better way of doing it. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to do it, right? Because that's what you're getting paid to do. So I think that's kind of the case here with Zachary Levi. He is able to recognize that they're putting out a bunch of crap because he's probably watched a lot of this stuff. I think a lot of these people don't even watch this stuff. If you listen to some of these actors' interviews, they admit that they don't watch any of the movies that they're in. So they don't actually know what's going on. They just know they're a mouthpiece and they have an idea based on the script of how the film turns out, even though a lot of these big blockbuster films are hacked up in post and the script is completely almost like thrown out. We even have the Secret Invasion director talking about how he was editing the rest of the season even after the first episode aired on Disney Plus. Like, what is going on here? You're chopping it up to figure out what the ending is even after you've aired the first episode? That's just bizarre to me. But so I want to say welcome to the party. I do think his analysis is still a little thin. I think he can get a little bit deeper, go a little deeper in this analysis. And I think Brian Niemeyer does a really good job of kind of pointing out what this analysis is. He was doing this back in 2016. So that's almost 8 years ago now. Really shout out to Brian Niemeyer. I think he's excellent at what he does and analyzing the culture. He's got a really good eye for that. And he also writes some pretty good books too. I read his Combat Frame Exceed. I've read all 6 books. Really enjoyed it. Highly recommend it there. If that's something up your alley. I like the Mobile Suit Gundam stuff. I like the mech stuff, and that's really what it is. Written by a Western author. It has a Western spin to it. I really enjoyed it. But he points out that one of the key societal functions that storytelling serves is explaining a culture to itself. And then and I think that's true. And we've got Jon Favreau saying something similar where he basically says that what we're doing here when we're making movies and television shows, we're passing our values to the next generation. Basically, very similar ideas there. But what Niemeyer points out is that American society or American culture is actually fragmented into 2 different classes. He says there is the ruling elite, which Hollywood is part of, and then there is the common underclass. So what you end up happening is you have this ruling elite has this disdain for the common underclass, and they're telling stories to reflect their ruling elite class status that reflects what they do, and it doesn't make any sense to the people that are actually consuming it in the common class because it doesn't actually reflect their culture or anything like that. You used to have the ruling elites came out of kind of the common people. I mean, that's what you had a lot in the Middle Ages, where the king was a man of the people. They were actually kind of very aware of what the common man was doing. They were part of the kingdom, etc., etc. But not anymore. These people are very isolated from themselves. They live in their own conclaves. They don't really, like, you'll even have Matt Damon say when he's doing research for a film, he goes out to a rural area and he's like, wow, I didn't realize what these people were going through and how tough they have it and how they live their life, et cetera, et cetera. So they admit it. These people admit it, that they are part of this ruling elite and they have no actual connection with people that aren't part of their in-group. So I think that's what you have. You have these people telling these stories, reflecting their absolutely terrible values and preaching to themselves. But you have this other group, us, that don't actually share those values. So what ends up happening is that they're actually trying to, and I think there's something more insidious to it than that, is that this ruling elite is also trying to program us to adopt these immoral values and propagandize to us so that maybe we can share those values with them, even though we know that they're wrong, despicable, and disgusting, but they're still trying to propagate that to us and show just like not only are we the ruling elite over you economically, financially, socially, etc., but they're trying to say morally, and we have to reject that because they definitely do not have any kind of moral authority whatsoever. So I think they resort to pushing propaganda through their films and attempt to indoctrinate moviegoers to their worldview. Niemeyer pointed to an interview that J.J. Abrams gave back in 2013, because you have these people that actively hate you, right, is kind of what he posits. These people are not only propagandizing you, but they actively hate the people that they're supposed to be selling this stuff to because they just look on you with disdain, hostility, etc. And you have J.J. Abrams telling this Jeff Garlin guy on the By the Way podcast, he said, we wrote these characters, but when we went to cast it, he's talking about this television show Undercovers that failed. One of the things I had felt, having been to the Emmys a couple times, you look around the room and you see the whitest effing room in the history of time. It's just unbelievably white. So the guy clearly has an issue with people's skin color being white. This is what J.J. Abrams looks like. But he apparently has a problem with that. He says, and I just thought we're casting this show and we have an opportunity to do anything we want. Why not cast a show with actors of color? Like not for sure. And if we can't find the actors who are great, we shouldn't. But why don't we make that effort? Because it wasn't written that way. And isn't that the cooler version of doing this as opposed to saying this is an urban show? It effing kills me when they call something an urban movie like it's a separate thing, like it's that thing over there. So he's just kind of rambling there. But I think that the key point here is that he clearly has issues with people that are white. And I think that shows that he has disdain, hostility, possibly even hatred for white people, and he wants to clearly make less shows, movies with white people. So it's not just J.J. Abrams, though. That was the example that Brian Niemeyer gives. I think we have lots of number of examples now. You just look at Rachel Zegler and all the comments she has for Snow White. She clearly has disdain for the actual 1937 animated film. She's made that abundantly clear. She's called it dated. She says that they need to update it. They need to change it. They need to fix it. It's like really cliche. I don't need a prince. We're not doing that. It's not going to be fair. Doesn't mean about beauty. It's not going to be about vanity anymore. It's going to be about justice. So completely changing all of that stuff and turning it into a moral lecture from this elite standpoint to the common people. So you can point that there. I think you can also point to the numerous male characters being supplanted by female characters. Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator, John Connor, Nick Fury, and others are poorly depicted as deadbeats, losers, and failures. In the case of John Connor, he's actually murdered. In their place, we get female characters like Rey, Grace, Dani Ramos, Gaia, and Sonya Falsworth, who are depicted as heroes, saviors, and successes, which I think, so this kind of shows what the values that they want. They want a ruling class of women, with men being depicted as losers, deadbeats, downtrodden, stay in your place, stay down there, that's where you belong, really kind of trying to demoralize you on that. And then we had a recent example with Indiana Jones where he's so stupid and basically he can't realize the gravity of the situation where he wants to stay in the past and how that could affect everything. He's the one who can't recognize that, so he literally gets punched in the face by his goddaughter, who knocks him out and then drags him back to his present time so that the timeline can stay intact, because Indiana Jones didn't recognize how dangerous that could be this hero that we had once seen. And you have what's his name? I don't even remember the director's name now. The Indiana Jones director, James Mangold, just crapping on the fans and did it for over a year. And then he admitted that he maligned Indiana Jones as well in multiple interviews. So there's numerous examples. It's all out there. And I think Zach, here's Ryan Johnson calling people man babies. We got James Gunn calling a fan saying that a fan has racist presumptions for disliking a race replacement in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 for the High Evolutionary. I mean, we've got Brie Larson talking about how she didn't want to hear the opinions of 40-year-old white dudes when it came to A Wrinkle in Time movie, because apparently their opinions don't matter because the movie wasn't made for them. Okay. So there's just lots of different examples of a lot of this stuff. Those are just a few. And Zachary Levi, welcome to the party. Just dig a little bit deeper and you'll see just how much Hollywood actually has disdain for its own moviegoers. And maybe that's why they're putting out so much garbage, because they're doing it on purpose.
Subscribe for more.